Some nights carve themselves into your memory before you even understand why. This was one of those nights, the kind that changes the meaning of the word saving. Snow slammed sideways across the windshield, turning the highway into a white, endless tunnel. Officer Margaret Maggie Brennan squinted through the storm, her wipers barely keeping up. Christmas Eve, 11:45 p.m., wind chill pushing 20 below. She had been counting down the minutes to midnight when she would finally be done. Retired, finished, but fate never respects retirement dates. Something moved in the headlights, a figure stumbling along the shoulder, clutching their coat to their chest. At first, Maggie thought it was just another stranded motorist. Then she saw the blood. Dark streaks smeared down the woman's jeans, spreading like spilled ink over snow that should have been untouched. Maggie braked hard. In the caged back seat, Thor, her German Shepherd partner, shot forward, barking like his voice belonged to desperation itself. Not his alert bark, not aggression. This was fear. Urgency. Easy, boy, Maggie muttered, but her own pulse was climbing. The woman collapsed just ahead of the patrol car. Maggie stepped out into the storm, boots sinking into knee-deep snow. 30 years in uniform had taught her that blood always came with a story. And none of them were simple. "Ma'am," she called, hand resting near her holster. "Not drawing, just preparing. I'm Officer Brennan. I need you to stay with me." The woman lifted her head slightly. Her lips were blue, eyes unfocused. She was on the edge of consciousness. I couldn't let another baby die," she whispered. Thor's barking exploded into frantic, broken howls. Maggie's breath caught. She had planned to retire in 12 hours. The world was supposed to shrink back to something smaller. Morning coffee on the porch. Maybe another try at fixing things with her daughter, Jessica, 17 years old and furious at her for choosing everyone else before her. Maggie had already tried calling tonight, straight to voicemail. Just like the 50 calls before, and the cancer, God, the ache had been returning. 2 years in remission didn't promise forever. She hadn't told anyone. Why burden people who already resented you? Thor met her gaze through the snow, brown eyes steady, loyal, knowing. He had been with her through everything. He had taken a bullet the night her partner died, dragging a dying officer from freezing river water. Thor survived. James didn't. Save the kid, not me. The words haunted her every night. Now Thor barked like a soul was in danger. The woman was in her mid-30s, soaked to the bone. Her clothes were too thin for winter, her shoes taped together. A hospital necklace chain hung where a wedding ring should have been. The blood wasn't hers. It centered lower. Towels. Something bundled beneath her coat. "What's your name?" Maggie asked gently. "Kate," the woman gasped. "Kate Whitmore." "Kate, are you injured? Are you bleeding?" Kate shook her head violently. "Not mine, the babies. I found them. I couldn't just leave them." Maggie's breath stalled. "Babies?" Kate's arms tightened around her coat. "So cold. They were so cold." The storm screamed around them. Maggie grabbed her radio. "Dispatch, this is Unit 12. Medical emergency, Route 89. I need an ambulance immediately. Static. All units delayed due to pileup. Minimum response time, 45 minutes. Kate did not have 45 minutes. Whatever she carried definitely didn't. "Kate," Maggie said, voice steady, "I'm taking you and whatever you have to the hospital myself. But I need to know what I'm transporting." Kate's voice broke. "Please don't take them from me." Thor lunged forward, not to attack, but to press his face to her coat, whining, a soft, pained sound Maggie had never heard from him. He knew. Maggie slowly opened the coat. Inside, wrapped in blood-soaked towels, was a newborn, barely the size of Maggie's two hands. Skin gray, still, silent, gone. Kate rocked it instinctively, whispering, "Almost there." "Mommy's here. Stay with me." Maggie's heart fractured. But she forced herself to stay clear. "Kate," she whispered, "you said babies. Where is the other one?" Kate weakly pointed to a backpack at her feet. It moved. Maggie dropped to her knees in the snow and opened it. Another infant, blue-tinged, breathing in tiny, desperate gasps. Alive, barely. Oh dear God. She scooped the baby against her chest, pulling off her gloves and pressing skin to skin for warmth. "Dispatch, this is Unit 12. Transporting 2 newborns. 1 deceased, 1 critical." "I am driving now." Alert emergency pediatrics. "Officer Brennan, protocol won't matter if this child dies." She loaded Kate, the babies, and Thor into the cruiser. The dashboard clock read 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes until Christmas. Maggie slammed the accelerator. The tires screamed. The snowstorm swallowed them whole, and the night was only beginning. Snow hammered the windshield in blinding sheets, turning the world into a spinning white void. The patrol car's engine growled as Maggie pushed it harder than she ever had before. The tires skidded, then caught, then skidded again. Her knuckles were bone white against the steering wheel. In the rear seat, the 2 surviving infants lay tucked beneath Thor's massive body. The German Shepherd curled like a living furnace to keep them warm. His breathing was steady, controlled, an instinct older than language guiding him. He wasn't just a police dog right now. He was the barrier between life and death, but something else was wrong. Maggie saw it in the mirror first. Headlights behind them. Large, too close, a shape barreling through the storm at a dangerous speed. Her pulse spiked. Someone's following us. She eased off the accelerator just slightly, positioning the patrol car for evasive maneuver. Then the high beams flicked twice. An orange strobe light flashed atop the vehicle. A snowplow, just a worker trying to clear the highway. Following the only tire tracks still visible on Route 89, Maggie exhaled shakily and refocused. "Kate," she said, voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding her veins. "Check the baby in the backpack, the smaller one. Can you see his chest moving?" Kate's hands shook, but she leaned forward. Her eyes were hollow now, raw from grief and shock, but focused. I think so. He was crying before. I did what I could. Wrapped him, kept him warm. They needed darkness." Thor whined, not just a sound, an alarm. He nudged the backpack sharply, pawing with increasing urgency, as if trying to tear it open. "Thor, down," Maggie commanded. He ignored her. Thor never ignored her. Before Maggie could intervene, the car struck a sheet of hidden ice. The steering wheel jerked. The world tilted sideways. "Hold on," she shouted. The patrol car spun. Snow, headlights, darkness, a smear of white and silver and fear. The backpack tumbled from the seat to the floor. Thor barked, a sharp, explosive cry that cut through the chaos. Maggie wrestled the wheel, turning into the skid, willing the vehicle to obey. The tires slammed against packed snow and straightened. The car steadied. And then, a sound that didn't belong to the storm. A weak, fragile cry, not the first baby. A new cry. Maggie slammed the brakes and veered to the shoulder. "Stop! Stop, pull over," she shouted at herself more than Kate. The patrol car skidded to a halt. Maggie twisted into the back seat. Thor was already there, pawing desperately at the backpack. When she unzipped it, her breath caught. There was another living infant tucked deeper inside, smaller, colder, a heartbeat flickering like the last ember in a dying fire. Triplets? No twins, but one had been mistaken for dead. Her hands trembled. "Oh my God, he's alive." She hit the radio. "Dispatch, update, I have 3 infants. 2 alive, 1 deceased. Both surviving infants in critical hypothermic distress. I need a live pediatric trauma team at Rutland Regional." Static. Then a new voice, firm and steady. "This is Dr. Chen, I'm on call. Talk to me." Maggie didn't waste a second. She relayed vital signs, temperatures, approximate exposure time. Her voice was clinical, clipped, a voice that had seen death before and refused to bow to it. Dr. Chen's tone shifted from professional to grave. "If the second infant has been cold for over an hour, you have maybe 15 minutes before the damage becomes irreversible." Maggie looked at the clock. 3 p.m., the baby had cried at 11:47. It was now 11:55 p.m., 8 minutes gone, 2, maybe 3, to save his brain. Maggie tightened her grip on the wheel. "We're not losing him," she whispered. She floored the accelerator. The patrol car roared forward. The storm thickened, swallowing the road entirely. Maggie couldn't see more than 10 feet ahead. She drove by memory, by instinct, by desperation. In the mirror, Thor adjusted his position, pressing his chest against both infants, warming them with every breath. His fur was soaked. His muscles trembled with exhaustion. But he didn't move. He understood. At 11:56, Kate spoke again, clear-headed for the first time since Maggie found her. "My daughter," Kate whispered. "I gave her up when I was 17. Her name was Emma. I never got to hold her." Maggie's heart stuttered. Her own daughter was 17. "Kate," she said carefully, "if fate has crossed your path tonight, it crossed for a reason." Kate looked down at the dead infant in her arms, and for the first time, she saw reality. Her scream was soft, broken, a mother's grief without volume. Thor nudged her shaking hand, a comfort, a promise. At 11:58, hospital lights cut through the dark like a lighthouse. "Hold on," Maggie whispered. The snowplow behind them blasted its horn, clearing the entrance path like a divine intervention. Maggie didn't slow. She braked only when she was close enough to stop inside the emergency bay. Nurses and doctors swarmed the car. 2 living infants, she shouted. "Severe hypothermia." Thor refused to move until she gave the command. "Thor, release." He held her gaze. Then slowly, he uncurled his body, and the race for life began. The emergency bay doors burst open as the babies were rushed inside, tiny bundles swallowed in blankets, surrounded by hands and voices that moved with urgency and practiced grace. Monitors beeped. Warmers were wheeled in. Instructions fired in quick succession. The infants disappeared behind swinging double doors, into a world of controlled chaos and fluorescent light. Kate stumbled after them, but the moment her boots hit the ground outside the patrol car, her knees gave way. 2 nurses grabbed her before she hit the ice. "She's hemorrhaging." One shouted, "Get a gurney now!" Kate barely seemed aware of her own body. Her hand reached out in the direction where the babies had gone, fingers curled, reaching for something already gone. "Please." Her voice cracked open. Please don't let them die. Please, not like mine. Not again. You need treatment first, ma'am, a nurse insisted. No, Kate whispered, shaking her head weakly, tears streaking her face. The babies first. Save the babies first. A physician leaned over her. Dr. Chen, calm even under fire, her voice firm but full of something gentler. We are saving them, and we are saving you. But I need you to let us work. Kate blinked slowly, as if the words were struggling to reach her through fog. Then her body went slack. Her eyes rolled back. She fell into unconsciousness as they pushed her toward the operating. Maggie remained outside for a long moment, the storm still raging around her, the snow reflecting red, blue, and white in dizzying fragments. Thor pressed close to her side, quiet now, watchful. Only then did Maggie notice the dark, spreading stain melting into the snow beneath her. Her blood. She placed a hand to her abdomen and felt the heat of pain clawing upward, deep and sharp. She had ignored it in the car. Ignored it when she carried the infants. Ignored it while holding Kate upright. A nurse approached her, face drawn tight with concern. Officer Brennan, are you injured? I'm fine, Maggie said out of instinct, voice thin and unsteady. Help them first. The babies. Help them. The nurse's eyes dropped to the snow, then to the blood on Maggie's hand. You're not fine. You need to come in. Now, I need to move the car, Maggie murmured, already leaning toward the door. The nurse reached for her. Forget the car. You're going to... The world tipped. Sound warped. The snow darkened. Thor barked sharply, trying to hold her up, his shoulder against her knees, but gravity was stronger. Maggie fell. The last thing she saw was the hospital clock, glowing above the entrance. PM, 1 minute until Christmas. 1 minute to decide who would live and who would not. When Maggie regained consciousness, the room was quiet. Too quiet. She lay beneath thin hospital blankets, an IV feeding into her arm. Every muscle in her body felt heavy, distant. Thor lay on the floor beside the bed, not aloud clearly, but someone had made an exception. His head rested on his paws, ears alert even in sleep. A young nurse entered, clipboard in hand, exhaustion etched in every line of her posture. Officer Brennan? Please don't sit up yet. You lost a significant amount of blood. Maggie ignored the warning. The babies, she whispered. Where are they? I'll get Dr. Chen. The nurse slipped out. The clock on the wall read 12:17 a.m., Christmas. 18 minutes lost. 18 minutes in which lives could have ended. The door opened again. Dr. Chen entered, and the expression on her face told Maggie the truth before her words did. The first baby, she said gently. The one we brought in earliest. He's stable, responding to warming, breathing on his own. He's going to survive. Maggie exhaled a single trembling breath. But the second, Dr. Chen continued, and her voice tightened with sorrow, went into cardiac arrest at 12:02. Maggie felt the floor fall away beneath her, even while lying down. Is he alive? His heart is beating because we're forcing it to, Dr. Chen said softly. We've been resuscitating him for 15 minutes. If he survives, the lack of oxygen and extreme hypothermia may cause severe neurological damage. He may never speak, walk, or even recognize the world around him. The silence that followed was painful. Finally, Maggie whispered, but he's still here. For now, Dr. Chen said. Maggie swallowed hard. What happened to me? A ruptured ovarian cyst. We stopped the internal bleeding, but we need to perform surgery soon. Given your medical history, she hesitated. We won't know until biopsy, but recurrence is possible. Cancer. Again, Maggie nodded. No tears, just bone-deep exhaustion. And Kate? She asked. She's in surgery. Severe complications. We had to perform a hysterectomy to save her life. She will survive, but she will never carry another child. The weight of that truth settled like snow, silent, suffocating. And the mother? Maggie whispered. Emma? Dr. Chen's eyes softened. She's alive, stable, but shattered. Maggie pushed herself up, pain burning like fire in her side. I need to see her. Officer Brennan. Please. Thor rose with her, steadying her. Together they walked. Emma sat in a hospital room, knees drawn to her chest, rocking slowly. Frostbite bandages wrapped both hands. Her eyes were hollow, eyes that had seen too much for 17 years, let alone one night. Maggie stepped inside. Emma lifted her head. My baby, she whispered. Is he dead? No, Maggie said. He's alive. Emma broke. A sound came from her, fragile, raw, the sound of a heart cracking. I thought I killed him. You saved him, Maggie said. Putting him in the cooler kept him alive long enough to be found. You gave him a chance. Emma sobbed harder. But his brother, he never breathed. Maggie whispered. You didn't fail him. He was gone before the world ever had him. Emma swallowed, trembling. I didn't want to leave him alone, but I didn't have anything. No food, no home. No one. Maggie sat beside her, every movement agony, and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. You weren't alone, she said softly. You just didn't know who was still trying to love you. Emma blinked, and Maggie told her about Kate, about the adoption, about the DNA test confirming what fate had already written. The girl went still, completely still. She didn't want me then, Emma whispered. Why would she want me now? Because she never stopped wanting you. Maggie answered. Emma broke all over again, and somewhere down the hall, the alarms began to scream. Code blue. Pediatric ICU. The second baby's heart had stopped. Again, Thor sprang to his feet. Maggie didn't think. She ran. The ICU was a place where time didn't move, where machines breathed for the weak, and hope clung to blinking monitors. Doctors and nurses moved quickly, voices sharp and controlled, sinus rhythm returning. A nurse called out, "Keep ventilating. Slowly. Watch for seizure activity. Temperature still at 89. If we warm him too fast, we lose him." On the other side of the glass wall, Emma stood frozen, her palms pressed flat against the window, as if she could force love through it. "Please." Her breath fogged the glass. "Please don't take him too." Maggie stood beside her, not touching, just close enough to keep her from falling apart. "He's fighting," Maggie murmured. "Just like his mother." Emma shook her head, her voice splintering. "I'm not a fighter. I tried to die." "No." Maggie turned to her. "You made sure he would be found. You made sure he had a chance. You weren't trying to die. You were trying to stop hurting." Emma's jaw trembled. "I don't know how to be a mother. I don't know how to do any of this. I'm just a kid." "So was your mother when she had you," Maggie said softly. "So was I in many ways when I had my daughter. Motherhood doesn't start with knowing, it starts with loving. The rest we figure out in the dark." Inside the ICU, something changed. The baby's small chest began rising with a steadier rhythm. Heart rate 90, oxygen climbing, a faint flush of color returning to his cool, gray skin. After 20 long minutes, Dr. Chen stepped out. She removed her cap. Her expression was calm but heavy. "He's alive," she said. "For now." Emma let out a sound halfway between a sob and a prayer. "But you need to understand. His brain went without warmth and oxygen for at least 40 minutes. If he survives the night, there may be permanent damage. Cerebral palsy, developmental delays, vision problems. We won't know the outcome for weeks." Emma swayed. Maggie caught her. "But he's alive," Emma whispered. "Yes." Dr. Chen nodded. "He is? Can I see him?" Dr. Chen hesitated, then nodded. 5 minutes. No touching. His temperature is still fragile. Emma stepped toward the easel like someone approaching sacred ground. The baby was impossibly small, wrapped in tubes, pacer wires, warmed air humming softly around him. His fists were tiny. Tight, determined, defiant. "He's so small," Emma whispered. 4 pounds, 11 ounces. A nurse answered. "Full term, but underweight. Likely maternal malnutrition." The words sliced through Emma, but the nurse's voice was gentle, not blaming. "What's his name?" she asked. Emma stared at her son like she was seeing her own soul in miniature. I don't know. I didn't think I'd get to keep him, or name him." Or her hand hovered near the isolette. "Can I think about it?" "Of course." Elsewhere in the hospital, under dim post-surgical lights, Kate woke. The first thing she felt was absence. The second was grief, heavy, choking, merciless. "The babies?" she rasped. "Where are the babies?" Dr. Chen sat beside her bed, taking her hand, the gesture itself an answer. "The first baby, the one you carried here, he's safe. Stable, no signs of neurological damage. You saved him." Kate exhaled a sob of relief. "And the other, the one in my arms?" "He had already passed, Kate, during birth, before you reached them. You didn't fail him. There was nothing anyone could have done." Kate closed her eyes as the grief carved her open. Dr. Chen continued, voice gentle but unflinching. "And there's something else. We discovered a severe infection. Complications from your miscarriage. Your uterus was perforated. We had to perform a hysterectomy to save your life." The ceiling blurred. Her last chance at another child. Gone, her husband gone, her son gone, her daughter gone 17 years ago, her womb gone. Why was she still here? Then Dr. Chen spoke again, very carefully. "Kate, we ran standard DNA tests on the infants. The mother is a 17-year-old girl named Emma Morrison." Kate's heart stopped. "Emma Morrison. That's the name I gave my daughter when I was 17. I know. The DNA confirms it. Emma is your daughter, and the child you saved is your grandson." The world tilted. The floor vanished. Emma, her baby. The one she prayed would be loved, the one she never stopped missing. "Does she know?" Kate whispered. "Yes." "Does she hate me?" "She is overwhelmed." "But Kate, she made the same choice you did. She gave her baby up because she was 17, scared and alone. You're living the same story, just 17 years apart." Kate didn't wait another second. "I need to see her." At 4 a.m., they wheeled Kate into Emma's room. 2 lifetimes met in silence. Emma looked like a younger version of Kate. Same dark eyes, same trembling strength. Kate looked like the future Emma feared she would never reach. "You're my mother, not a question." "A wound, yes," Kate whispered. "And I am so sorry." Emma's voice cracked. "I gave away my baby, and I gave away mine." They stood in the same grief, the same guilt, the same love they never stopped carrying. Kate opened her arms, Hesitant, terrified, Emma collapsed into them, and two broken lives stitched together in the dark. The tiny boy lay beneath the soft glow of the incubator lights, his chest rising in slow, gentle waves. A nurse read the numbers softly, almost reverently, like announcing a prayer. Weight, 4 pounds, 11 ounces. Length, 17 inches. Small, frail, but alive. Kate leaned forward, her voice barely above a breath. He's beautiful. Emma hesitated, afraid to touch him, afraid she didn't deserve to. Her arms were wrapped in bandages from the frostbite, her hands trembling, not from pain, but from fear. Then, with courage as delicate as the boy himself, she slid one finger through the incubator's port. The baby's hand closed around hers, tiny, instinctive, determined. Emma made a broken sound, half laughter, half sob. He's strong. Dr. Chen stood quietly behind them, her expression softer than usual. His vitals have held steady for 6 hours. That's a very good sign. The warming is going slowly, the way it should. Every hour he survives improves his outcome, Emma swallowed. And his twin? Dr. Chen's eyes lowered. We've prepared him for the medical examiner. But Emma, you should know, he never suffered. He passed before his first breath. There was no pain. Emma nodded, tears spilling silently. A grief that didn't scream, just a quiet breaking inside. She pressed her forehead to the incubator's plastic wall. I thought I wouldn't get to name him, she whispered. I thought he'd go to someone else or die or... Her voice cracked. I didn't think I had the right. Kate turned gently, meeting her eyes. You do, she said. He is your son. The choice is yours. Emma stared at the baby as if the world hung in that moment. I can't raise him alone. I'm 17. I don't have a family. I don't have a home. I don't even have a future. Her voice trembled. How am I supposed to be someone's mother? Kate placed a hand over hers, bandaged fingers and trembling knuckles overlapping. What if you didn't have to do it alone? Kate whispered. What if we raise him together? Emma blinked, not breathing. You'd be his mother, Kate continued softly. I'd be his grandmother, and we would make a family, not the one we lost, but a new one. One we choose, Emma broke. Tears came hard and fast, and she folded into Kate, clinging to her as though she had been drowning for 17 years, and someone had finally pulled her from the water. Thank you, Emma choked. Thank you for not giving up on me. A nurse approached, holding a clipboard. We need a name for the birth certificate. Emma looked at Kate. Something passed between them, something wordless, something inherited, something ancient. David, Emma said, after your husband. Kate's breath caught. David? She repeated softly. Yes, yes. And James, Emma added. After Maggie's partner, the officer who taught her how to save children. Maggie, leaning weakly in her wheelchair nearby, covered her face. For the first time in 7 years, her grief did not drown her. It moved. It changed. It healed. He'd be honored, she whispered. Later that morning, Maggie was taken into surgery. Thor refused to leave the operating room doors, laying his massive head on his paws. Nurses stepped around him. He did not move. When Maggie woke, Dr. Chen was there, and this time her eyes held relief. It's not cancer, just a ruptured cyst. We removed it. You're going to be okay. Maggie stared up at the ceiling, and for the first time in years, the future didn't feel like a closing door, but an open one. Her phone buzzed. Jessica, Mom, I saw the news. I'm sorry, can I come see you? I love you, Maggie's hands shook. Come now. I love you too. By noon, the world knew the story. Thor curled around a newborn like a shield. A teenage girl leaving her baby where hope would find him. A woman who had lost everything finding the daughter she thought was gone forever. Christmas snow falling like quiet forgiveness. It spread across the country. Then across the world, the donations began. Not just money, but belief. People wrote, for the family who reminded us what love is, for the girl who deserves another beginning, for the dog who understood what humans sometimes forget. When the GoFundMe closed, Kate's medical debt was erased. Trust was created for baby David. A college fund was set aside for Emma. The remainder went to families drowning in medical bills. And... still, the support kept coming, but not all storms pass. Quietly, 2 weeks later, Emma was charged with felony child endangerment. The world held its breath. Spring unfolded gently that year, as if the world itself had decided to give them room to breathe. Emma had received her acceptance letter to nursing school just 2 months earlier. A full scholarship. When she first read the email, her hands shook so violently Kate thought she might faint. I want to be like you, Emma had whispered, eyes shining. I want to help kids who feel scared, the way I did. Kate didn't speak at first. She just wrapped her in her arms, holding her as if she were holding time itself. Kate was different now, too. She worked 3 shifts a week instead of 9. She slept at night. She ate real meals. She attended therapy faithfully twice a week, and she sat in a circle of grieving parents every Thursday, where she learned not how to erase grief, but how to live with it without drowning. Healing didn't undo the past, but it made the future possible. Sunday dinners had become sacred. Every week, Kate, Emma, baby David, Maggie's daughter, Jessica, sometimes Dr. Chen, sometimes Sarah Chen, the attorney, sometimes the nurses who had saved Christmas night. They were a constellation of people who had collided through tragedy and somehow decided to stay. On this Sunday, they gathered at Kate's kitchen table, sunlight warm on the maple wood, Thor dozing like a loyal guardian beneath David's high chair. Laughter came easy now, something that had once seemed impossible. Then a knock at the door. Kate wiped her hands on a dish towel and opened it. On the porch stood a couple, middle-aged, worn, nervous. The woman clutched her scarf as if it were an anchor. "Are you Catherine Whitmore?" she asked. "Yes," Kate answered slowly. The woman swallowed hard. "My name is Patricia Rodriguez. This is my husband, Miguel. We're the parents of Marcus Rodriguez." Emma froze behind Kate, breath halting. Patricia continued, her voice breaking under the weight of her own words. "We know what our son did. He's serving 20 years. We're not here to defend him. We're not here to ask forgiveness." Her eyes glistened. "We just want to meet our grandson. If you'll allow it." Silence fell like snow, soft, heavy, unescapable. Emma looked at David on the floor, babbling happily, stacking wooden blocks. Looked at Kate, looked at these strangers whose blood ran in her child's veins. "Why should I let you?" Emma asked quietly. "Your son destroyed my life." "He did," Patricia whispered, "and we can never undo that. But he is not us. The baby is innocent, and we want to love him, if you allow it. Not to replace anything, not to intrude, just to give something good back into the world. Something our son took." Miguel's voice cracked. "We set up a college trust for him. No strings." Emma's throat tightened. She looked at Kate. Kate thought of second chances, of grace, of being saved when she did not deserve to be saved. "Come in," Kate said softly. "But Emma decides everything. This is her family, her child, her rules." Patricia nodded, tears trembling. They stepped inside as though entering a church. When Patricia saw David, her grandson, she didn't reach for him. She just cried. "He looks like Marcus did," she whispered. Before everything went wrong." Emma lifted David gently. Her voice was fragile and brave all at once. "You can hold him," she said. "Just be gentle." Patricia took him like something holy, her hands trembling with a love that had nowhere to go for years. Miguel placed his hand on David's back and wept silently. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for letting us be here." Across the room, Maggie watched, her hand resting on Thor's head. She thought of James, her partner, who had said, "Save the kid." She thought of all the broken people at this table who had somehow chosen each other. Jessica leaned into her mother's shoulder. "I get it now," she said quietly. "Why you run into burning houses, why you never give up on people. You save them even when they don't deserve it." Maggie hugged her daughter, her voice raw. "Not just me," she said. "All of us. We save each other." That night after everyone left, Kate sat in the backyard beneath the stars. Thor's head rested in her lap. Emma joined her, holding David close. "That was hard," Emma whispered. "Yes," Kate said. "But good. Do you think David will be okay knowing who his father was?" Kate looked at the baby sleeping in Emma's arms. "I think he'll be okay because he has people who love him. The rest we'll figure out together." Emma nodded. "I'll tell him the truth someday. All of it. But I'll make sure he knows the ending is love." Kate placed her head against Emma's. "You're wise," she whispered. "I had to grow up fast." They sat in the quiet, three souls in one. Loyal dog under a sky that had seen countless stories. But this one was theirs, and for the first time in 17 years, Kate felt whole.